When we left off the last section, we were talking about taxation. We can compare tax exempt and taxable rates. The after-tax yield is equal to the taxable yield multiplied by 1 minus the marginal tax rate. We can actually rearrange that equation. The taxable yield is equal to the tax-exempt rate divided by 1 minus the marginal tax rate. Table on the next page gives some examples of rates, taxable and tax-exempt comparable. So when we're talking about a taxable yield on a municipal, we would call it a taxable equivalent yield. So, anyway, if we look at the second column on this chart, we got tax exempt yields across the top there: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5%. Marginal tax rates of 20, 30, 40, and 50%. So if we look at the 2% column, and an individual in with a municipal bond that yielded 2%, the taxable equivalent yield would be 2 divided by 1 minus 0.2, which would be 2.5. We go down to 40%. 2 divided by 1 minus 0.4, or 40%, is 3.33. 2 divided by 1 minus 0.5 would be 4%. So the formulas for both are down at the bottom of the page there. So we could also convert that 4% back to the tax the after tax yield. That would be 4 multiplied by 1 minus 0.5 to get the taxable equivalent yield. So figure 2.5 just shows the ratio of tax exempt bonds to corporate BAA rated debt. The over time starts in 1953 and goes through up to 2017. We can see that the range is anywhere from 60% up to 90% in maybe 2014, something of that nature. This ratio varies depending on any number of factors in the market. One of the biggest factors here is the highest marginal tax bracket, because wealthy individuals are some of the largest purchasers of tax-exempt bonds because of their treatment. Corporate bonds. We've got corporate bonds are broken down into two sectors. The book calls them investment grade versus speculative grade. I prefer to call them either speculative, either non-investment grade, or junk bonds. Those all refer to the same thing. Investment grade, if we're talking about Standard & Poor's, is anything rated BBB or higher. Anything below that would be considered junk bonds or non-investment grade. Mortgage-backed securities. Talked a little bit about mortgage-backs already. The mortgage-backs are backed by a pool of mortgages that pass through the payments that are applied as interest. So when a mortgage pays interest, the holder of the mortgage-backed security will receive that interest through the pool. The mortgages for the property, they serve as collateral. If there's a default, they'll in the event of a default, the mortgage will be foreclosed on, and the property will be taken over and sold. historically, mortgages were referred to as conforming, and almost all mortgages in pools were conforming mortgages. This means that the borrowers had what called prime credit ratings. That is a credit rating of 620 or above. Since 2006, mortgages referred to as Alt-A or subprime mortgages have been included in pools. This played a major role in the financial crisis. The conforming mortgages traditionally have default rates of at a minimum of 3 times less than the non-conforming mortgages. So there's a huge difference in the default rates of the different types of mortgages. The private banks, investment banks played a major role in the financial crisis, and we'll see in an upcoming chart how their activity has declined significantly since the financial crisis. The assumption all along with these subprime mortgages was that the housing prices would continue to rise, and thus make the mortgages continue to perform. That obviously did not occur. This chart, figure 2.6, shows the mortgage-backed market back to 1986. We can see that the blue part is federal agencies, and the gray part is private issuers. You see that private market grew considerably up to 2007, and then declined significantly, and every year since, while the federal agency market has continued to grow. You see that there's even during and after the financial crisis, those markets continued to grow. Figure 2.7 shows asset-backed securities outstanding. The asset-backed securities includes these are also collateralized loans. Student loans are also pooled and issued into and securitized. Would be the gray line. We have equipment. We have credit cards, credit card receipts, or automobile loans. All are very popular asset-backed securities. The figure 2.9 shows a breakdown of the U.S. Fixed income market. Treasury debt is by far the largest, which 13.9 trillion. Mortgage backs are 8.9 trillion. Corporate bonds are 8.5 trillion, and then the next would be tax-exempt at 3.8 trillion. Federal agency makes up another 1.97 trillion, and then other asset backed at about 1.3 trillion.